All right. So we've got some goodies for you today, right? And part of your homework was to begin to read the Edgar Casey on the mysterious scenes. And we know that the beginning of this uh, book is kind of dry, right? Like reading Genesis within the Bible. But we will say that as you continue to move through this book, it gets juicier. We promise. And so we want to talk today about scenes. We want to talk today about you, right? Does everybody have their pencils, pens, and their paper? All right. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions and ask you to write down the answer. The first question is, do you believe that you are an Essene? Write it down. You can write down the question too if you like. Okay. Is there anyone here that does not feel that they are on a scene? That's okay if you're not feeling it yet. Good. So, how many of you have been able to take ownership of that? It's one thing to think of being in a scene, right? And then there's that part of knowing that you're in a scene. How many of you know, no, without a shadow of a doubt, that you are in a scene? Okay. That's good. And a couple did not raise the hand, and that's perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Because there's really a journey behind this. All right, we're going to ask another question. What is an Essene? Write it down. What is your understanding of an Essene?
What is my understanding of being in a scene?
Yeah, write it down.
Sorry, I was texting. I didn't realize my microphone was on. My
Oh,
apologies.
okay. Yeah. What is your perception, your belief, your understanding? And we're going to tell you right now, you're all right. You're all correct. Whatever your perception is. Right? Are you ready for the next question? What does being on a scene mean to you? What does being on a scene mean to you? have a really fascinating piece of information for you as you are completing your understanding of what being an Essene means to you. After the creation of the Essene soul grouping, if you so choose to look at it that way, there's no genealogy. There's nothing that came before it, and it has not changed at all moving forward. It's fascinating, right?
So
It,
Metatron, is that like in the book, in one of the books where, oh, it was Aachen in the Edgar Casey book where he says, we are still the same beings that we were all those thousands of years ago.
yes,
Is that why you
yes,
guys wanted us to read that book?
yes,
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
And and for those of you who are a little bit confused by our comments, there is the genealogy of souls and soul groupings, right? And you can look up for information on that for yourselves. But there are some soul groupings that have no genealogy. They are created and they remain the same. Melchizedek has no genealogy. Melchizedek was the creator of the Essene soul grouping. And so that which is the Essene is pure, undiluted from inception until this breath. When the Essenes were created, there was no real name for them, for that soul grouping. It has become an identification. And we want to remind you that identifications are limiting. So, as the Essenes were created, what were their abilities as that soul? And they have come not only to your earth plane, but they have moved through the cosmos since their inception. They've been everywhere. What do you think some of Essene's superpowers might be, right? What is it that the Essenes bring that no other soul grouping brings? What do you think? Anybody have any ideas? Lynn Glocker.
um, the ability to create
Yeah,
worlds, whatever.
indeed.
Healer.
That's true. Pardon?
I think all
What?
beings have an ability to heal.
Yes, indeed.
To live by the laws of nature rather than by the laws of man.
Indeed. Or we'll go one step beyond that, beloved one. They live by the law of themselves. There is no other law than God's law, right? But to the Essenes, they are in the only way we can explain it to you is kind of self-contained.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Hey, Em, I have a request for you. There's a there's a group I know you know this already, but there's a group that we started on Facebook last week, and we now have 130 people in there. May I take this, either the video of this or the transcript of this, and bring it into that group and ask these same questions of them?
Yes,
Thank
please
you.
do.
Thank
Please
you.
do. I'm
I'm so
happy to have you
excited.
do that.
Beautiful.
Right. So, as Essenes, you have the ability to regenerate your bodies. As Essenes, you have the ability to communicate with anything. Telepathy, you have the power of creation, you have things that you've not even heard about yet that are available as an Essene. Now, your brain will say, yes, but I'm a human, I cannot do that. We're going to begin to shift your perception, beautiful Essenes. And we're going to begin with the ability to communicate. How will we do that? Okay. Let us play a little game. Put everything out of your hands and just be right here with us. We are going to generate an emotion. Just feel. What did you feel?
Joy. Incredible happiness.
This is a communication. Please remember that you are communicating more from your emotions and from your telepathy than you ever do with the mouth. You will notice that you begin to speak less and communicate more. Right? So your homework this week is to each and every one of you pop up upon your WhatsApp at some point in time and say, okay, I am sending a thought or I am sending an emotion. And everybody receive it and respond, please. Okay? This is not about being right or wrong. This is about moving through your barriers, shifting out of your limitations. The human form is much more malleable than you think, has greater potential than you think. The Essenes have the abilities to work with DNA in all structure, changing it, healing it, expanding it. Essene have been the bringers of consciousness ever since inception. That all resides within you. That is part of your soul. It is part of your DNA. Right? The understanding of what an Essene is an important piece to this. Because you have been charged by God and Melchizedek to travel through time and space bringing these gifts. And much like Mother Maya, you always gather when things are the darkest. And you transcend, and you transmute, and you transmogrify that which is not light into the brightest light possible. This is you. You. So, what does being an Essene mean to you? You wrote down your answers. Want to just hear from some of you what it means. Right? What does being an Essene mean to you?
Well, I'm here. I just wrote down what is an Essene? A person committed to love, light, truth.
Beautiful. May we ask you to please consider changing one word?
Yes.
Person to soul.
Okay. Very good.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Beautiful.
So
Right.
will you read it again with that change?
Yeah, an Essene is a soul committed to love, light, truth.
Mm. Thank you.
And what does being an Essene mean to you, Willem? What is it personally?
It means, for me, I wrote down completing the lineage, the purpose of the lineage.
Beautiful. Thank you. All
Me-
right, who's next?
Metatron.
Yes,
Hi. I'm not feeling so great, so I'm in bed, but
the
I feel
lovable one.
I feel called to say something. So I don't really know much of the memory yet, but what I do know is that we were blessed as a community because of our faith. Strong from creation.
Yeah. But we would say that you were bound as a
Mm,
collective consciousness through truth, right? Through truth. And then your faith in that truth. Does that make sense to you?
yes.
Yes, beautiful. And so, as a soul grouping, that is one of the ways that you've remained pure, unadulterated, right?
Mm, thank you.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that, beloved one. We hope that you will feel better very quickly.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. All right, everyone. What does being in a scene mean to you?
It's Joyce.
Hello,
Hello,
Joyce.
sweetie. What does it mean to me? It's a soul group to support energy balance back to singularity, back to oneness, to be love.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Wells.
I'll talk.
All
It's
right.
Lori. Hi, Metatron.
Hello.
So I had written to hold responsibility for truth and love on this planet, but I really wanted to say in the cosmos. So it's interesting.
Yes, please. We'll cross out on the planet and just put in everywhere, right?
And I also said being in union with God and all humanity, but again, I was thinking the universe, all universal beings,
All things.
all
Yeah,
things.
beautiful. We like that a great deal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to share before we move forward? All right, Lynn and then Holly.
To me, being in a scene means being a woman of God, living within a community where truth is our most important value and there is no hierarchy. Like everyone, there's an even playing field. One does not have more, know more, see more, than anything else. Like we're all working to bring everybody back to that place where it's even with all of us, and leading others back to the remembrance of God and to our divine selves, our soul selves.
Yeah. So that one word we'd ask you to shift is woman. I am a woman. I am a soul,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
that is the truth. I am a soul.
Yeah.
Right? I am an Essene soul.
Mm.
Thank you.
Thank you. Metatron, when I was directed by Yeshua and Magdalene to put together that community, he said your sole purpose, the reason you came back for this incarnation, is to gather the Essene tribe back together. And I have such purpose and such focus and such vision with it. It's like it literally is what gets me up out of bed every morning doing the channelings. It's what I go to bed with my head on the pillow. It's about helping everyone just to remember, which is what Yeshua has been saying to me for years, that the truth of us is that we all came here with this mission and with this purpose. And I hope
Right.
that this group of us in the pathway, I hope it doubles next year, and I hope it quadruples, in the year after that, as we continue to gather together. Thank you.
Indeed. All right, Holly.
Well, I was thinking about how for generations and generations and generations, the Essenes were preparing and preparing for Yeshua's coming and that big task. So what does it mean for me? I wrote preparing it. So now preparing the ground with light, truth, and knowledge for the people of earth, knowing that they are God, I am. Kind of similar to Lynn, what you said at the end, but
Beautiful. Ah, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Do you know what one of the greatest strengths that the Essene have? It's their compassion, their ability to hold space for it all. As a scene in this moment, we would ask you to remember your neutrality in your observation of what is happening upon your planet. Remember to pull back into that Essene soul and see everything through those eyes, your Essene eyes, not your human eyes at this point in time. Allow yourself to have for lack of a better understanding, a filter that you call my Essene eyes or my Essene filter, so that you can see what's happening and then run it through that filter. Be the helpers. The Essene are the helpers. Be the lovers. The Essene were created from agape. Keep your Essene heart open, even in difficult times.
Can I ask you a question? Why did they have to disperse like they did after the crucifixion?
They didn't have to, beloved one. It was something that had been planned. It was set into motion millennia before that, and they the pieces of their wisdom and their knowledge, because they understood that there was going to be let's call it a tsunami uh, of energy and motion, and so they each had a job to do, and they dispersed to do what needed to be done.
Okay. Magdalene's asking me when I go to Paris to make a trip over to England. And Yeshua has been talking about the Druids.
Yes.
And there's a retreat that they want Mayalestra and I to do that has to do with the Essenes in England. Is there anywhere?
Avon, yeah.
Yeah. Is there anywhere in particular that you would direct me to go when I'm there?
Yes, as close as you can get to the Chalice Well.
Okay.
You probably will also, if you are able, want to go and spend a little time at Stonehenge.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And yes, the Essenes have been Essenes always, but they've often been called something else,
Like the Druids.
like Druids, Knights Templar,
Okay.
and so on and so forth.
Yeah, that was really prevalent in Paris, the Knights Templar and their commitment to Magdalene. You know, and you also see you see it at the grotto.
Yeah, indeed. All right. Anyone else want to share before we begin to complete things today?
Thank you.
I think everyone needs what is a shirt what says I am on a scene.
Okay.
All right. So here's another piece of homework. And it is something that we're going to ask you to repeat daily like a mantra. I understand I am a sin, or I understand my Essene soul, or I understand, however you want to word it for yourself. I understand. It is very different than I know, I think, I believe. I understand myself to be a sin. That's even more powerful than a sin I am. So that is a bit of a tool between now and the next time we gather. And we're going to ask you to just really begin to open your heart and take ownership of that aspect of yourself. Even if up here doesn't believe it quite yet, let your heart know it.
Metatron, can we say I accept rather than understand?
No.
No. Okay.
We prefer that you say, I understand. And
Okay.
there's some reasoning behind that
Okay.
that we will talk about in next time. And I see Holly's hand, yes.
Essene and Kalu, the same thing, different?
Yes, no different, just a different different jobs,
Oh,
so to speak. Yeah, yeah. Still part of the same soul grouping.
okay. Mhm.
And would you say what were called the Essene in Egypt were the therapists, the therapeutae?
Mm, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Thank
All
you so
right,
much.
beloved ones. Indeed, I understand. Right? I understand. I understand circumvents ego. Mm. All right. All right, beloved Essenes, we're going to continue to remind you who and what you are and why it's important. So we hope that today walk away with all of our love and our good friend Melchizedek is just reminding you that you are creation in and of itself, is what he is saying. You are creation in and of itself. So, any day that you're not feeling worthy, please remember that. All right. Until next time, beloved ones.
Thank you very much,
Namaste.
Metatron. Namaste.